Okay, so this is Taurus Sun, Taurus Moon, Taurus Rising. We have the Four of Coins in reverse. So it seems like the emphasis is definitely on a loss of finances or a financial drain of some sort. For some of you, this could be about perhaps overextending yourself financially. For some of you, this could be, pop-ups. For some of you, this could be about a relationship where things are not equal in regards to finances. Sometimes that could be an issue where one partner is basically doing everything on the financial end and the other partner's just, receiving those benefits. But, that can be pretty draining on a relationship. But in general, this card is about, we're focused on finances and the lack thereof. For some of you, this could be maybe you might have recently lost a job or got laid off. Maybe some of you were counting on some money, like a bonus, and it just hasn't come in, or something's gone awry. But it's like there's just not enough money. For some of you, this could be about actually having, that savings and then going out and spending that money on something. For some of you, maybe this could have been spending the money towards a business project or a creative project. For some of you, this could have been like paying, for school loans, getting ready to go to college. Some of you, this could have been like buying a car, whatever it may be. So there's definitely a loss of money here. Okay, yeah, so clarification here, we got the Chariot in reverse. So first and foremost, for some of you, this definitely could be indicating that you might have lost some money through your vehicle, potentially breaking down. So this could have been a mechanical type of issue, or this could be, even the tires, suspension, things like that. But the Chariot is very symbolic of a, vehicle, an automobile. So anytime I see it in the reverse, this can definitely indicate issues in regards to our vehicle. On occasion, this can indicate that for some, just a few of you, this could be indicating that there was actually a vehicular accident, automobile accident, excuse me. So that's only going to resonate with a few of you. For the rest of you, if you haven't had any type of automobile accident, please don't take this on as your energy, okay? Because this is the first card, so this, would have already happened. I just don't want anybody taking energy on that's not meant for them. But this will speak to somebody. Now, for the rest of you guys, the Chariot is about us going after a particular goal, okay? And when the Chariot is in reverse, it's like sometimes the competition is just a bit more than what we can handle. Sometimes the competition is stronger. Sometimes this can be indicating, perhaps for some of you, and this is only going to resonate with part of you, this could be indicating that you've been going after a particular goal so much that perhaps maybe you might be feeling a bit drained. This card can come up when our energy and our vitality and our stamina is down. Sometimes this is where, we might be feeling a bit exhausted, whether it's physically, mentally, or both. Sometimes this can just, be like a little flu bug for some, But overall, it's kind of like we're just exhausted. We're wore out. It's like we're tired of dealing with all the problems, ready for things to go my way. So this card can definitely indicate that an enemy or adversary could definitely be getting the upper hand, especially if you're in competition for something. But for most of you overall, I feel that this is definitely a drain on the finances through vehicle issues, or in general you're just trying to achieve something. Maybe this, whatever you're trying to achieve, has costed you more than you expected it to. For some of you, maybe you're trying to make something work and it's just like you're being met with delay after delay, and it's just so frustrating, and it's just really wearing you down. So we're going to get more details here. Okay, so this would be the circumstances. So we have the Eight of Swords in reverse. So this is about us being released from our fear, being released from the mental prison that we make out of our fears. So when this card's upright, we basically create a prison out of our fears. And then we feel so restricted that we cannot make a choice. So we are just completely deadlocked by the indecision, and the fear just prevents us from being able to make that decision, because everything that's going through our mind is just fear-based. So the bright side here is this card is in the reverse. So this shows you're being released from restriction. You're being released from fears. So that's positive. At least we're being released from that, because it's not good to be controlled by fear. Ooh, okay. So Six of Cups in the reversed position. This is the Sun and Scorpio card, which is the opposite of Taurus. So, Six of Cups in reverse. This could definitely indicate, for some of you, you might have been having some memories of the past that were not so great. For some of you, you could have actually received some sort of news from the past, or from someone in your past, and it could have been pretty disruptive for you. Sometimes this can actually indicate that for some of you, you're going to want to wish that things were the way they were in the past. But that's just, it's okay to look back for a moment, but we don't want to get caught up in that wishful type of thinking, because we cannot go back. But for some of you, this could be definitely focusing around, wanting things to be the way they used to be, years and years ago. This is also a card that has to do with our siblings, our cousins, people, longtime friends, childhood friends. There's some sort of connection to the past always with this card. We just don't want to live in the past. For some of you, this could be about getting out of a certain situation that is harmful or hurtful. So some of you are definitely getting out of a situation, and you're trying to put it in your past. Now this card can also be indicating a disappointment that has to do with your family. Sometimes it's like, we expect certain people, like our family or certain friends, We expect certain people to be there for us when the chips fall, so to speak. And then it's like some of you may be experiencing this where you thought these people were going to be there for you when you had this tough time and they weren't. So that can be a bit upsetting. But just know that you're going to go in a new direction. You know, you're going to get that new start. You know, and you can create new memories. I really hate to bring this up, but I feel like I have to. And this is only going to resonate with a very few of you, okay? But this card could definitely, the combination of these two cards together could definitely be indicating that perhaps maybe some of you could have been getting some counseling or have just been simply doing a lot of inner work yourself in regards to a childhood trauma. A lot of times this can indicate a sexual trauma of sorts. Now, like I said, this is not going to resonate with all of you, but I have to mention it because this is going to resonate with a couple of you. But with this particular card combination, you're being released from all of that negativity and toxicity of that situation that has probably held you back, and you are now released from it. So that would indicate that you have been dealing with those issues, and that's good. You know, we got to deal with it, because the sooner we deal with it, the sooner that we take the power that those, you know, that particular person or those people had over us. Okay, again, that's only going to resonate with a very couple, you know, very few of you. That's it. But in general, you know, get ready for a new start. You know, we're going to make new memories. Sure, some of you might have had to deal with some not so great memories. Maybe some of your family members or friends were not there for you. But, you know, it's the really rough times in our life where we get to see the true side of people. Unfortunately, that can be a little upsetting, you know, because we think certain people are absolutely going to be there, absolutely going to have our back. And then something happens, and then it's like they're nowhere to be found. So, you know, it's a bit hurtful, but at least you know now. So you can definitely move forward accordingly. You know who you can depend on now and who you cannot depend on. Kind of a rough way to learn it, but, you know. Okay, enough of that. We're moving forward, okay? Okay, so this would be the focus. So here we have the 5 of coins in reverse. So this shows that, you know, especially for those of you who might have lost a job, this would be very positive, because with the 5 of coins reversed, this shows that luck is now in our favor. So those opportunities for jobs, you know, making money, you know, it's definitely in our favor. So this card is much, much more positive in the reverse position. It's also a card of going through a transition type period as well. So, but at least it is in the reverse position. So it's showing that our, you know, some of you might have felt like you were going through a bit of bad luck. But, you know, this is a card where the luck has, you know, turned in our favor. And so those opportunities will be present, especially if you need a job. The opportunities are coming. Oh, and would you look at this? So it's clarified by the Three of Cups. So this is a very positive card. This is a card of, emotional joy, but it's also a card of we achieve an undertaking here, and we get success. And so it's kind of like saying, I did it, or I got the job, or whatever it may be for you. And it's like, let's party, let's celebrate, It's like, finally something good happens, now let's celebrate, So, this is definitely about good times. It's also about a harvest coming in. So this is, money coming in. But, this is also a card of, good food, Taurus, good food, good friends, just good times in general. But, you can definitely look forward to great things coming into your life under this type of energy. I just want to say, be careful when it comes to the alcohol. Party, you deserve it. Just, moderation, please. Y'all are going to be fine. And I think y'all definitely deserve to celebrate it up. Because, wow, was it rough to start, So, celebrate. You deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. Okay, so this would be your recent past. So we have the moon in the reverse position. So this is where, if there are things that are hidden, they come to light. This can also be a card of self-deception. So that'll resonate with a couple of you. Anytime I see the moon card, whether it's upright or reversed, this card comes out just to let us know, if you've had that feeling, and this is a card from the past. It's like having that feeling that, something is about to happen, something big, a major change is coming. This card always pops out to say, hey, you're absolutely right. But this is definitely a card where anything that was hidden, concealed, it comes to light. So it's clarified by the Knight of Wands. So yeah, this definitely could have been a change. The Knight of Wands is always about positive changes and positive opportunities, no matter what the Knight of Wands brings to you in the past. It is a positive change, a positive opportunity. For some of you, you definitely grabbed that bull by the horns, and some of you could have missed it. Okay, so this would be the present, the here and the now energy. So we have the Six of Wands. So this is where we're working towards achieving a particular goal, and we're just experiencing frustrating delays. Sometimes it can indicate that, the right opportunities are just not available. Sometimes this is about feeling like you can't pull it off. Some of you may have been feeling, pretty drained, pretty tired, and in need of, some rest, recovery time. But this is like stress and tensions are definitely building up. And this is definitely a card where we need to make sure that we're not overreacting to certain situations or events that could appear to be at a standstill. Okay? We just need to be patient. You know, sometimes if we take a step back and look at things objectively, we can see what's going wrong. You know, but ultimately this is about, you know, just ride out the storm. Try to be patient and ride out this storm the best that you can. You know, whatever this represents for you, it might be delayed, it might be postponed, but trust me, even though you cannot see it right now, anytime we have a delay, that delay happens for a very good reason. Even though we may not be able to see it, and it certainly don't feel like it's for a good purpose, but it is. There's always a good reason, and it tends to show us later on down the line. So, okay, yeah, overreacting. King of Swords in reverse. Whew! Well, yeah. King of Swords in reverse. He's certainly got a bad attitude, you guys. Now, for some of you, this could be somebody external that you're dealing with, but for some of you, this card's going to be representing your particular energy in regards to achieving and accomplishing this goal that you were going after. So, this is definitely a card of feeling mentally exhausted and just unable to handle the stress of a situation. Sometimes this can be where bad news could potentially come in. And it's just like you're having a very hard time finding that balance. You know, so this is where we can try to distance ourselves, you know, detach. Sometimes we need to be careful because under this type of energy, the King of Swords in reverse, he can be pretty cruel, especially with his words. I mean, his tongue is literally a weapon. His tongue is like a sword. So, yes, definitely not the person you want to mess with. Not good at all. Not the person you want to mess with. But the King of Swords in reverse is also not sensitive to the needs of others because he's pretty focused on the self and his own issues and his own loss. Pretty preoccupied with his own issues. And sometimes there can even be a bit of obsession when it comes to his own actions and intentions. But ultimately, he can't see things clearly. Not at all. And, you know, he could just be downright opinionated. So, I know that's kind of rough. But, you know, maybe you might resonate with a few of those characteristics. Maybe you don't. Maybe for some of you, this could be indicating someone in regards to this project. Maybe for some of you, someone's trying to, you know, postpone your success. For some of you, this is just simply indicating that, you know, we're experiencing delays and things are at a standstill, and then we react in not the greatest way. We know what we want it now, you know, but unfortunately it don't always work out like that. But like I said, I know that it really sucks to experience these delays, but trust me when I say that when things don't work out and certain things are just constantly delayed and it's like no matter what we do, we cannot make it work. There's always a reason for that delay. Even though we cannot see it on the surface, there's always a reason, and it's always normally for the better that it was delayed. So, yeah. Some of you might be lucky enough to find out, in a few months from now or even a year from now, exactly why you got lucky by getting delayed in regards to that. Sometimes that's not the right opportunity for you. Sometimes there's an even better opportunity for you. This can play out in so many different ways, so I could literally be sitting here listing them for about an hour. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Most of you probably didn't even notice that I paused, but that candle was about to drive me bonkers. You couldn't even hardly see that it was lit, so sorry, it was just getting to me. I had to pause so that I could grab a new candle and light it, so it was just getting on my nerves. So, okay, yeah. Back to it. Okay, I'm pretty sure that I mentioned that, sometimes we can be delayed because maybe there's something better for us. Well, here's your near future. Looks like a new start. So, the Ace of Wands, I always love this card because this is not so much in this particular deck, okay, and especially within the traditional Rider-Waite decks, when you see the Ace of Wands, it looks like a thumbs up. So, that's always positive. I always refer to the Ace of Wands as the hand of God, but the hand of spirit, the hand of the divine, the universe, however you want to look at it. So, this is definitely a new beginning. Sometimes this can be new energy. Sometimes this can be renewed courage. Maybe some good self-esteem. But overall, you have the energy and the passion, and you're ready to face things as they are. So, this can definitely give you the energy to start new projects, because whatever it is, it's like you have that ambition, that energy, that motivation on your side when we have the Ace of Wands. So, for some of you, this could be a new job offer. Sometimes this can be like taking on a new attitude or just simply looking at things a different way. And sometimes this can allow us to approach a certain situation with renewed energy and a new understanding, awareness. So, it's positive all the way around. On occasion, this can definitely indicate a birth, but that is only going to resonate with a very few of you. So, because we do have 2 aces that I can see. So, for some of you, this could be indicating the actual birth of a child or conception of a child. For some of you, this could be indicating the birth of a new project, a new way of thinking, many different things. But no matter what, this is positive. Our energy, our motivation is there. The passion is being reignited, renewed. Confidence, we have confidence now. So very positive. Oh, and would you look at this? It's clarified by the Emperor. So the Emperor is an Aries, but this is about taking control, because the Emperor is an authority figure. So for some of you, this could indicate, that you're stepping into your personal power, like you're taking control of the situation. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. For some of you, this could be indicating that you could potentially, get a new job, and maybe this new job could be a position in authority. But no matter what, this is definitely indicating that you're going to take control of the situation and of your life, whatever it may be. You are stepping into that position of authority. You're going to make these things work for you and not against you. If life throws you lemons, let's make some freaking lemonade, you guys. I mean, that's what you got to do. But this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Makes me happy. Okay, so this would be your attitude. So we have the Five of Cups in reverse. So this is definitely about us going through a situation that had loss and disappointment. Sometimes this can be about, a relationship endings. Sometimes this can be about a friendship coming to an end. Maybe someone left. There can be some disillusionment. But thankfully, it's in the reverse position, so we are healing from that situation. And our passion has returned. And we are ready to go out and just have a good time. Sometimes this can indicate that a love interest could be perhaps coming onto the scene. So for some of you, that's going to resonate. For some of you, you're not interested in love. Because not every Taurus wants to be in a relationship. So it's just that simple. And that's okay. But, for some of you, this could even be perhaps indicating that maybe you will find that new job. Because under this energy, our confidence is returned. It's like the loss is replaced by improvements. And your hope returns, and your happiness returns. And it's also about, these energies increasing daily. So that's very, very positive. And sometimes this can be a card that can come up, especially maybe some of you are wanting to make new friends. Well, that can definitely happen under this energy. For some of you, this could indicate some old acquaintances could reappear into your life, and, a potential friendship could develop. But overall, you've definitely rose above this situation. And, you're getting back to yourself. You've risen above that loss. And you're not going to let it keep you down anymore. Now you have the confidence to move forward and all that renewed energy. So, this is like that card of, I was down, but now I'm better. So I'm cheery. Ooh, so it is clarified by the King of Cups. Look at you, Taurus. So, King of Coins. Whew. So y'all are definitely focused on making that money. Because the King of Coins is the one who is a leader. He knows how to make money. He knows how to make wealth. And he's also got no problem in teaching others how to do so as well. As long as they ask and they really want to. But the King of Coins, this is someone who is very good with math, science, numbers. This can be a real estate person. This can be a broker. This can be an investor, a veterinarian, an entrepreneur, No matter what, this is someone who makes money. And so to see this as your attitude position, we've gotten over the loss. Confidence is restored. So now you're self-confident and hope is returned. And now you're like, let's make that money. I'm loving this. This is getting so much better. Okay, so this is how other people would look at you. So we have the Eight of Wands in reverse. So this energy is kind of similar to the Six of Wands in reverse. So the Eight of Wands in reverse, this is about us going after, a goal of ours. Sometimes this can even be about going after a particular dream that we've held and that we really want to make happen. But we start experiencing these really frustrating delays and postponements, or sometimes it can seem like things are just completely at a standstill. And anger comes up in a very big way associated with this card. And so other people may be looking at you like you're being a bit angry over this situation that hasn't worked out. But really, this is just a card that's saying you need to take a step back and look at things objectively, because sometimes it could be something so minor that we just need to tweak. And, this can make everything start moving forward swiftly like it should when the Eight of Wands is in the upright position. So, take a step back, look at it objectively, and in no time we can have this Eight of Wands to the upright position. Now, for some of you, this can indicate that perhaps maybe there was a love interest, and maybe that love interest is not so great anymore. Maybe you thought it was something good, but it's just not worked out. Oh, okay, so this is clarified by the Four of Wands. So, for some of you, this might have something to do with your actual home. For some of you, this might have something to do with your family life. For some of you, this might have to do with your marriage or your relationship with your significant other. But this is a card of happiness and prosperity and celebration. So this is a very, very happy card. It's also a card of taking stock of our blessings and being grateful and thankful for all of our blessings. This can also be a card where we literally have a celebration, so people come together to celebrate an accomplishment. Sometimes this can be a marriage. Sometimes this can be a honeymoon. Sometimes this can be about buying a home. For some of you, this could be what where the delay is coming from. It's something to do with the home life, a relationship, whatever it may be. But just know that you're about to take control like a boss, okay? So don't let this get you down. Okay, so here we have our hopes and fears position. So I'm loving this because if we're going to have any energetic thoughts within our subconscious mind, this is definitely the way it needs to be. So we got the Wheel of Fortune here. The Wheel of Fortune is all about that good luck, things coming together, things working out for us. So things are difficult, but they do get better. And for some of you, this just may be part of your subconscious thought process, like, yo, we're going to make it work. Things are going to come together, and they will. They absolutely will. Lady Luck is definitely on your side. So most of you have that faith. You know that things are going to work out. So then it's clarified by the Seven of Coins. So yeah, this is about an investment that we've made. You know, this could be an investment of our actual money. This could be an investment of our time, our energy, you know, our own work. Sometimes we have to labor towards, you know, achieving this harvest. But this is a harvest. It is also the card of you reap what you sow. So if you want to have a good harvest, you want to be planting only the best seeds. But this is a card of harvest. So I like the fact that you guys are definitely trying to remain positive and hopeful and knowing that it's going to work out. Now, for the final outcome, we have the Page of Swords. So, yeah, this card's a little... what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say disturbing, but, you know. Anyway, moving on. It'll come to me later when it doesn't matter. Now, the Page of Swords, first and foremost, this is information that's going to come in. Sometimes it can be a younger person that brings the energy. That'll resonate with a few of you. Now, with this particular message, information that comes in, sometimes this information can come from a third party. Sometimes this information can be like secret type of information, because this is the card of spying. So, but again, the Page of Swords is a messenger, and the overall message is look closer, pay attention, because there is something more than meets the eye to a certain situation. Like there is something more to it. Now, for some of you, this can indicate that there could be a delay in some of your plans. For some of you, this could be some disappointing news. But do not let this news completely knock you out of balance, okay? Sure, for some of you, it could be disappointing news that you could learn through a third party, you know, and it could be secret information that you're really not supposed to know, but hey, you do. But don't cause it to allow you to undo everything that you've been able to do. You know, don't let it extinguish your flame, your fire, your passion, your confidence. So don't let it do that, okay? Just be ready to think quickly in regards to the message that comes through. But again, you should also be prepared, because there is always an element of needing to look deeper into a certain situation, because it could appear one way, but really there's something else going on, and we need to get to the core of what is truly going on. Sometimes this can be a card that pops up when there is dishonesty or deception around a situation. Okay, so it's clarified by the King of Cups. So this could either be someone that you're dealing with. Maybe this could be the person you're being warned about. For some of you, this could be indicating that this needs to be the energy that you take on to get through this situation. Now, the King of Cups, he is an emotional man, but you would never guess that by just simply looking at him, because it's like that emotion, those emotions are like restrained. They're very controlled. They're underneath the surface. So one could say very good poker face. You won't be able to tell how deep this man's emotions are, man or woman, because the King of Cups can be a man or a woman. But you're not able to tell that, that emotion is there, but it is. So this is definitely about staying in balance with our intellect and our emotions. This is also a card of being compassionate. The King of Cups is really good when it comes to dealing with people and their emotions and like those really, really difficult emotional situations. This is the type of king that can handle it. It makes him almost like a natural born counselor. So he's very, very good at dealing with people and their really tough emotions. And he's very compassionate and understanding. This man could also be a teacher. This man could also be a leader within a religion, in a church. But overall, I'm getting that most of you will be taking on this king's energy, channeling him, so that when this situation occurs, you want to stay calm when you get this info. Okay? You want to stay calm. Stay in control of the emotions. And have compassion. Because for some of you, this could be news regarding your own child. Now, this is only going to resonate with a handful of you, but this news that comes in, it could be about your own child, especially if your child is like within those teen years. This could definitely be about something that your child did. So this would almost make more sense, like, yes, we need to be firm, but we also need to make sure that we're compassionate and understanding. Sometimes children rebel, do things that they wouldn't normally do, but yeah. Because I always refer to this card as sometimes this can be like flight away from a dishonorable act sometimes, where it's like, don't tell mom, but, so it's like there is some secrets taking place, and it's like there's other people that know, but somebody's not going to be able to keep their mouth shut, so. So the information will make its way to you, but I'm getting that most of you just need to be balanced. Try to be compassionate, keep those emotions, under the lid, so to speak, Just like the King of Cups, He's very good at dealing with those emotions, but you won't just see them all over his face. He's got that really good poker face. Okay, yes, so here was the second ace I was referring to. So we have the Ace of Swords for the bottom of the deck. This is in the reverse position. So this is still about us having this new start, but when we have the Ace of Swords in the reverse position, it kind of has a bit of a negative feel, a negative focus. You know, sometimes it can literally cut to harm and to inflict pain. Sometimes this can be about being too forceful, and then we can hurt others because we're being too forceful. We're just pushing, trying to make something happen or trying to understand. And if we're being too pushy to get to the truth of the matter, because the Ace of Swords, this is about the truth, ultimately. Because that's what this sword is. It's a sword of truth. But you want to be careful not to be so forceful that you could potentially hurt others. You don't want to push too much to gain an end. You want to do your work very, very gently. But this card is definitely one where we're not so gentle, but, you know, if you can take the gentle approach, you know, you could consider yourself forewarned. You know, forewarned is forearmed. So when this situation takes place, you know, definitely try to be careful. Make sure you're not so forceful and trying to get to the root of things, get to the truth, you know. But to each his own. Everybody's got their own experience. You know, every Taurus, sun, moon, and rising is different. You guys got your own situations, and these situations can manifest differently in everyone's life. So at the end of the day, you got to do what is best for you in your situation. But this is also a card that you need to be careful. You don't want to apply a whole lot of pressure and force to a situation, because if you do, then you can make it worse. And then you can create even more opposition. So more drama that we don't necessarily need. I mean, basically, we want to avoid arguments at all costs if we can here. Sometimes we just need to try to be cautious and diplomatic, you know. Use some of the reasoning abilities that the Swords element has. Reasoning abilities. Okay, yeah. He's pretty much making an appearance in all readings this month. So, yeah, this is going to take a moment. So, some of you are feeling a bit off. Some of you might be feeling a bit more drained or a little bit more stressed out lately, and it's like you cannot pinpoint exactly what it is. Well, we have 6 planets in retrograde, and if you don't have a lot of retrogrades in your own natal chart, all these planets being in retrograde are making some people feel a bit off compared to normal. If you don't know all your placements, like your sun, your moon, your rising sign, and all of that, you can always go to astro.com, and you can get a free natal chart done there. And this will definitely show you how many planets you have that are actually retrograde. For those who have a lot of retrogrades, this time isn't really any different. But we do have Neptune, which rules the Hanging Man, that has went retrograde. So what's going to happen? Neptune in retrograde is basically going to be snatching that veil that we've had over our eyes. Neptune is literally snatching that veil away from our eyes. And then we are able to see certain situations, certain people, exactly how they are. So a lot of illusions get shattered under this type of energy. Okay? It can be a bit painful, hurtful, you know, especially if you've had certain situations that you've been in for a very long time. And then suddenly you see someone exactly how they are. and then you can't unsee it, you know, and so that can be pretty rough to deal with. And then to think, oh my God, I can't believe I was being fooled by the illusions. But hey, you know, don't feel bad, because everybody's pretty much going through this. So, back to the card. Just wanted to warn you guys, because if that has not happened to you yet, it will. And this is why this card just keeps coming out in every single reading, because it is very prominent and a lot of people are going through it right now. They're starting to see people in situations for exactly as they are, because that veil is being ripped off of our eyes. And so there can be no more illusions. Okay. So, the Hanging Man. This is definitely about a transformation of sorts. This is a new spiritual awareness, a new spiritual understanding. This is where we are definitely contemplating making some huge changes within our own life. Sometimes we might actually consider making sacrifices that we normally wouldn't have never made before. Sometimes for some of you, this could be indicating you might be looking towards a complete reversal of your lifestyle. But you're just ready for something new. You're ready for something, for a life with higher purpose, higher meaning, you know. You want the real experience, you know. So, for some of you, this is definitely about shifting our conscious awareness to where we are becoming much more aware, you know, and we can't really go back, you know. So this is definitely a shift of consciousness, and it's really for the better, although some may be a bit more resistant to this energy. But this is a card of ultimately just surrendering, letting go of those situations, letting go of certain things that just do not serve us anymore. We let them go. We walk away. We move forward. But this is also new understanding as well. But ultimately, you know, this is leading you towards a new direction, a new path, a new start. Sure, you may not know exactly what's in store for you, but you're ultimately willing to make that gamble. It's kind of something that's inevitable anyway, so you can't really go back once it starts. You just kind of got to go with the flow, because the more that you resist it, the more difficult it becomes. But this is really a good energy, you know. I mean, believe it or not, this man is here by his own doing. So it's kind of like a temporary moment of stasis, but we can't stay here for long. We can't sit here and hang forever, you know. So, you know, we're going to let ourselves down and we're going to move forward. But when we move forward, we are going to move forward with this new awareness. And we're going to move forward because we want this new change. We want this new direction, this new start. For most of you, this is where we just want something with meaning. You know, we want to live a life where we feel like we're actually needed. You know, where we have, you know, relationships or whatnot with people that are actually genuine. And there's a bit of a spiritual element, like a spiritual connection, you know. Maybe some of you want to develop, you know, romantic relationship or friendships with what I would refer to as a kindred soul, you know, where there is a special soul connection. We want things with higher meaning, because the fake The illusions, the lies, all that crap, we're done. We're done with it. We don't want to be there anymore under that energy. It's just not any good for us. And we don't want all that fakeness anymore, you know? Okay, so I have love oracle cards, plus I have the positive affirmation cards. So these are for the single Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. Oh, ouch. So the first one is codependency. Addictions are affecting your romantic life. So this can be actual chemical addictions, or this could be the type of codependency where we literally want to be attached to someone's hip as well. That could be just as toxic as, you know, addictions with chemicals. So for some of you, this, you know, one of the two reasons is why you might be single. Worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. So this is basically saying, if you've been wanting a relationship and you've been wondering, you know, is this ever going to happen? This card's showing up to say, yes, it will. But it's going to happen in divine timing. It will happen when everything is right. So you don't want to push. Just know it will happen, but it's going to happen within divine timing. Whenever the divine is ready, it will happen. And I'm thinking that, you know, we definitely got to get through this hanging man energy first. This could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. So some of you are definitely questioning, like, should I, shouldn't I? I really like this person. Maybe you've been having those thoughts like, is this the right woman? Is this the right guy? You know? Well, this will be popping up to say, the right guy or gal for right now. Absolutely. Okay, so these will be for the Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs that are married or in a relationship. Ooh, ouch. Okay, so deception. Someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship. Yeah, I think for some of you, that could be the Page of Swords. For some of you, that could be the information that comes through from a third party. It could be about your significant other or your spouse. For some of you, this could be you. Maybe you're not truly invested in your relationship like the other person. So, you know, if you're not really happy, it just might be the time to let that person go. Either get some counseling or let the person go, because, you know, we don't want to keep that energy in our life, and we don't want to be having that energy, because that's not good. We don't want to keep someone in our life that we don't really love, but yet they're loving us. You know, that's just really not the best thing to do. But again, to each his own. So, no judgment from me. Oh, okay. Release your ex. The time has come to clear your energy. Okay, so this is definitely speaking about some of you could be in new relationships. Some of you could even be married. I hope not, but you know, some of you could be married or in a relationship where you may still be a bit hung up on an ex. And this could be causing problems within your present relationship or marriage. It's almost like that X is still in our aura, and our significant other or our spouse can almost pick up on that energy within our aura. And so this can cause problems. So this is definitely that type of card where we need to do what we can to find closure in regards to that X. And we need to get that closure, and we need to release that energy. Because ultimately that energy is holding you back from being able to develop into your marriage or your relationship. Yeah. Religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and your spiritual path. So yes, this could definitely be indicating that perhaps you might be with someone that, their religion is different, their spiritual upbringing could be different. Maybe you disagree about some things. So, it really comes down to, are you willing to compromise? Are you willing to blend? Is there a happy median there? Only you'll know. And you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day. So, okay, so give your relationship a chance. Work on your partnership. So, this is a card of saying, hey, there really is love there. But for some of you, it is possible to get past these hiccups, so to speak, and to move forward with the relationship and work on it. Some of you may need to seek, couples counseling. For some of you, no matter how much counseling you have, once the trust is gone, it's gone. For some, you can rebuild. For some, once you take that trust from them, it's done. It's a wrap. So you're pretty much going to fall on either side. You'll know which card resonates with you in your situation. Yeah. Okay, so Queen of Earth. This is our first positive affirmation card. So, practical and grounded, trustworthy, earthy, resourceful, a gardener who tends to what has been planted. I am committed, down to earth, and clear about my goals. I am honest as I work with others to keep it real and be true to what we are doing and the challenges before us. I use all my resources wisely, whether they are finances, opportunities, or people willing to help me in my endeavors. Two of water. Harmonious partnership. Loving and lasting relationship, heart connection between two souls. I partner with one who is in harmony with me. Together, we explore what is and might be, knowing we are there for each other. Two hearts beat as one, as we take turns replenishing and encouraging the other. I have someone who can bring out the best in me, and I can do the same for another soul, for we are all expressions of divine love. Four of Fire, which is the same card as this, Four of Wands. A new creative phase, celebration, pleasure, and harmony in relationships. Dancers have partners, singers have musicians, helping them create sweet music. And I find others who are in sync with me and my desires. It's a time for celebrating friendship and all that others bring to my life. A time for revelry and relishing the pleasures of being in good company. Making magic together with others is the focus at this time. That sounds nice. And Six of Fire, which is this card. Okay. Stepping into the limelight and being an enlightened influencer. I generously model my transformation so that others might be inspired. I put my light atop a hill so it can shine forth, helping others to find their way. I remain aware of shadows and people who have trouble basking in the warm light of higher awareness. I bless them, but do not dim my own beacon. It's a time to renew my trust that I am contributing to the highest good of all in my own unique way. Okay, and so this one is the same as that one, Six of Water. Look at the expression on her face. She's reflecting into the water, but she looks like she's in a little bit of pain. One could perhaps say emotional pain. Nostalgia, sweet memories, old flames, yearning for the security of the good old days. If I am being triggered to remember the past, I can enjoy the warm memories, but must recognize that they are temporary. Emotion can color my recall and distort my understanding of what is happening today. I acknowledge and heal old wounds. I can experience security today, enveloped in the arms of divine love. There is no need to return to the illusion of a golden era of yore, because I can begin co-creating a better reality right now. Authentic healing and joyfulness will be mine if I stop rekindling the emotions of the past.